But anyway, my best friend, Robert Carter, if you saw him, you saw me. We was always together.
Right.
So we all hung out together, you know. And at that time, by me being on the corners, I got involved with the drug business.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I worked in this drug house, and they would bring the marijuana, and they put it on the coffee duffel bags. All we had to do is roll the joints,
Right, right.
you know, and get them ready to sell. So this particular night that I wasn't there, I wasn't there that particular night, but we was getting high smoking them joints. And so we had a gun, and at that time, the number one record was Johnny Ace. And he was playing Russian roulette and killed himself. You know, put one bullet in the chamber. So we was doing that. We put one bullet in the chamber and spin it.
Oh, man.
Pass it around, click. Nothing happened, you know, all them time.
Wow.
But the particular night I wasn't there, this was in 1953. And that night I wasn't there, my best friend Robert, you know, they were playing Russian roulette and he got it. Bang! So I learned about it the next day. So I went home and I prayed. And I said, look, I said, pray to God. I said, oh God. I said, oh God, you know. I said, anybody, I said, save his life and I'll stop using drugs. I'll become a Muslim.
Right.
And that's what happened in 1953.
Wow.
And Allah kept him alive from 1953 all the way up until 2007, 10 years ago. They couldn't move the bullet because if they moved it, he would have died.
Right.
But he had that bullet in his head all them years until 2007, and then he died. But I made that covenant, and I said, if you save his life, I'll start all over again. So that's when I gave up drinking, smoking, and all, and I wrote to get my ex.
Really? So you were converted under the minister?
Well, at that time, Malcolm was the minister.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had Brother George. He became the minister because Malcolm was going from New York, Boston, you know, travel.
Okay.
So he made George the minister.
So was Malcolm did he convert you or?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
you
no,
converted
no.
prior to meeting Malcolm?
Yeah, I went in before Malcolm came. When he first came here, like I said, he used to come down from New York and we would stay, you know, at 2503 Oxford Street. Then we got him another place on 26th Street, the 1500 block of 26th Street was only a block away.
Right.
You know.
So how did you initially meet Brother Malcolm?
I met him at the Martha Garvey Hall when he first came into town.
And your impression? What was your initial impression?
Well, I didn't have an impression. All I knew, he had came from headquarters, which was Chicago.
Okay.
And he was traveling between Chicago, New York, Boston, and also Philadelphia. And at that time, it was only 10 temples in the whole nation of Islam. And we would go down to Atlantic City, which was temple number 10, and we would meet the Minister Woodrow, you know, and I seen how clean the house was and all like that. And Minister Woodrow would always have tapes of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's talks and all like that. But anyway, Boston was trying to get to become temple number 11. Philadelphia was trying to become temple number 11.
Oh, so it was a competition?
Yeah, we had a competition because there wasn't that many temples then.
Okay.
Then Boston got to be temple number 11. So we became temple number 12.
That's interesting. I never knew.
Yeah. So we became temple number 12. Then Malcolm had set up where we can be in, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad could be in the Pittsburgh Courier newspaper. At that time, we had the African American newspaper, We had the Philadelphia Independence newspaper. We had the Pittsburgh Courier newspaper, you know, African American newspaper. So Pittsburgh Courier put the Honorable Hajj Muhammad in. And so we outsold, well, it was only 12 temples,
Right.
but we outsold all the temples, selling newspapers, you know. We was bringing in more people, you know, as guests. We was donating more money, you see. So we was the top of the clock at that time, you see.
Top of the clock, 12,
Yeah.
top of the clock. That's
12,
right. You know, it kind of just dawned on me, right?
Yeah,
So I said,
yeah,
top
we
of the clock.
was the top.
12 o'clock,
So
right.
the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted to start the South with the Nation of Islam. By us being the top paper sellers, we were all single. And that's who he was going to send down south, you know. And the only person that was married was Brother Jeremiah,
Right.
him and his wife, Sister Elizabeth. So the first group, the picture I showed you, went down in 55.
Mm-hmm.
So they were down there in 55. So we had to come down after them. We left out of here in 1957.
Yes.
And at that time, all the top ministers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was there when we got to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the brothers, it was Robert, I can't remember the slave name, but he was Robert X. He became Mustafa out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the minister and imam, you see, because he come from a prominent family in Atlanta, Georgia. So he knew Atlanta, Georgia, and we had just got there, and so he knew how to maneuver, who to see, and all like
Yes,
that.
sir.
So he helped us out down there, you see.
Now, you guys were roommates? You say you were roommates for a while?
Oh, it's roommates, yeah. Yes, sir. See, we had Unity House. We had FOI houses in the city of Philadelphia. We had FOI houses around 8th and Nars. We had them on 25th and Oxford. We had them on Nicholas Street.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the house we had on 26th and or 25th and Nicholas, because we were growing. So most of the brothers were single. So to keep the unity, they would have FOI houses.
Okay.
You see, in the FOI houses we had one at 26 and Columbia Avenue, which is Cecil B. Moore, over top of the drugstore that was on the corner, because the temple was right around the corner. But we had these houses all around the city and all with the brothers, you see.
And the house where you roomed with Malcolm, the address of that was?
2503 Oxford Street.
Do you remember any other roommates in that house? Any other roommates in that place?
Oh, whew, we had quite a few. We had Brother Sidney, that I showed the picture of him. Brother Sidney, Brother Harold X, Brother Clifford X. We had Brother Andrew, and we had Ishmael. Wow. We had quite a few brothers at these houses.
And it was growing. You could tell that the movement in terms of the Nation of Islam was really growing. And the mosque
It was growing here in Philly because we would bring the people in, you know. They call it fishing.
Right. Yeah.
So we invite them to the temple. We go out and fish. So we was fishing in more people. And then we had Brother Robert Leo, who lived at 2503 Oxford Street. He was an insurance agent. So he had that time, you know, you sell insurance, you got time,
Right.
you know, so he was a master cook. And Brother Robert Leo, he would cook so good, and he had our dinners ready when we got off from work and everything, and we take a shower or a bath and all to go to the temple, which was right around the corner, you see. So we would go to the temple and set it up for the meeting that night. Monday night was FOI night. Tuesday night was Unity night. Wednesday night was the meeting for the, you know, the whole community and all. And Friday was the meeting night for the whole community. Thursday nights was for the sisters to learn, you know. So we was always busy. always busy. And we were selling so many papers that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, these are the brothers I want to go down to start the South.
Okay, now, did the concept of the fruit of Islam, did that exist then? Was that?
Oh yeah,
that was in place?
it exists, 100%. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we learned, we had math classes, we had electronic classes, we had English classes, we had how to stand before the audience, because a lot of us, they was trying to make all of us assistant ministers.
Yes, sir.
Because it was growing so fast, so we didn't want all that burden on one minister.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a minister's class where we learned how to stand before the public, And a lot of us took the Dale Carnegie course. Dale Carnegie was the man that would start
motivational.
Yeah, the movers and shakers of this country. Exactly. They all took that course. So we bought the books. Some of us went to the Dale Carnegie course, and they spent their money to learn how to speak in the public, So we learned all that, how to hold our hands, how to grab somebody in the audience and look at them. And,
so it definitely wasn't fly by night. It was organized.
Organized.
Yes,
Yeah. We learned all that. We had the ministers class where we would learn how to do public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And we had classes on how to handle people coming through the doors, because we had to search now. And when we searched now, we'd be smelling to see if they had alcohol, or we see if they had a gun on them, if they had a knife, then we would take that and say, you get this when you come out. We wouldn't allow no weapons inside, you see, the meetings.
Now this all was while Malcolm was a minister in Philly in 1954, I believe.
Yeah, 54 all the way up to maybe 50 until I believe Imam Wallace Muhammad came here. But we were already sent down south.
Okay.
So when he was here, we was down south. But anyway.
But how long after he came was he sent to New York to be the minister of number 7?
You mean Malcolm?
Yes, sir.
He was already the minister.
Oh, he was already the minister.
Yeah, when he came down to us, he was already the minister there. Yeah, they made him the minister, and he had most of the East Coast, Philadelphia, Boston, and New York. So he already had them, But he came down here to set us up so we could have our own minister.
Yeah. Now, did you sense anything different about him? Anything? Did you see potential to be, what he became, in terms of?
Well, we knew he was a dynamite speaker. That's what we knew. And I know whenever he came here, the place was so jammed. I mean, you could just barely get in there. And here's the kicker: we used to let white people come in at that time, even though we was going to talk about them. But we put them on the front row.
Right.
The first front rows were for the white people that wanted to, come and hear this, Because at that time, the Saturday Evening Post, Life magazine, and it might be another one, start talking about us. And what happened, he was on one of the Sunday programs. And I forget, it was the Hate That Hate Produced.
Yes, sir. Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace, And he was the one that put that out there, and that it just blew up after that, And Malcolm was being interviewed all around the country, all around the world, England, everywhere, So Malcolm became real famous.
Now, in terms of your relation to him, your relationship?
So we was like. Me and him was like, I got my name Richard Hassan from him.
Really?
Yeah. He used to call me Rashid Hassan. I said, no, I said my mom gave me my name Richard.
Yes, sir.
So I'll be Richard Hassan.
Okay.
Rashid Hassan. And I told him, no, my mother named me Richard. Now I'm Richard Hassan. That's how my name is today. And he knew I loved jazz. He loved jazz. Because, when he was a hustler and all like that in New York and all, he was around all the musicians.
Yes, sir.
And entertainers. In fact, he was their drug man. He was the
Right,
one that
okay.
bought them drugs and all
Okay.
like that before
Yes,
he
sir.
got busted and all
Yes, sir.
like that. But anyway, I got a little shaky. I believe it was in 55, near 56, something like that.
Mhm.
Because you couldn't mess with women unless you got married.
Okay.
You understand?
Uh
So, you know, I'm young.
huh. Yeah. Okay.
Look, I said,
Yeah.
what am I do?
Right.
So I stopped going for a little while because I said, man,
I hear you. That's a tough one. That's
yeah,
a hard
that was,
sell.
Yeah, that was hard, you know,
Yeah.
because if you mess with any woman, you got put out,
Right.
you know?
Mhm.
You get a year out,
Right.
or you get 5 years out.
Yeah. And I believe Malcolm's brother, I think it was Reginald,
Uh-huh.
got into had
Yeah.
some problems with the
Yeah,
nation.
yeah. I mean that was hard, but see, the unity of the brothers is what kept us kind of balanced and straight, you
Yes,
know? Because if you get a little shaky, then you had your brother to push
Right.
you over, you know.
Yeah. Right.
So, but you know, it was so serious. So I know I remember it was I don't know, one of the hurricanes that came up or something. And so I ran into Malcolm, and you know we was talking. He said, you know, I ain't seen you in a little while, so you know, hey man. But he said, oh, come on back.
Right.
So I went back, and when I came in, you know, they knew you wasn't active no more, but so they called him out. He said, oh, let him in.
Mhm.
So I went back in.
Mhm.
And that's where I stayed.
Wow.
You understand? And the beauty of that was by us having that unity
Mhm.
and the brotherhood. I mean, we had really grown in Philadelphia, you know. And brothers start going out of town, you know, to take the Nation of Islam. And 3 of us, Brother Donald X, James X, and myself.
Mhm.
The only literature we had was J.A. Rogers' literature, his books and all.
J.A. Rogers, the
Yeah,
historian.
now you got to get that. Yeah, he got our history down.
I got Africa's Gift to America. I think it was
Oh yeah,
Africa's
yeah,
Gift to America. I
yeah,
believe
yeah,
that was
and
one of the
more.
ones.
But if you can get his books, man, you'll see how great we are. And we got those books, and we would walk over the Ben Franklin Bridge in Camden.
Yes, sir.
That's how Camden got started. We go door to door selling the books. Then we invite them over to Philly to Temple Number 12. And the people from Camden start coming over, you see. And that's how Camden got started. And Camden, I think they went into Morristown, you know, South Jersey and all like that. So Morristown started coming over too. And by the time 1957 got around, by us selling so many papers and everything, that's when we were sent down south. And so we got into Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm trying to pull that up because the newspapers, the Atlanta Constitution, wrote an article on us coming down south from up north, saying these people from up north are here to bother our good Negroes, you know.
Okay.
They wrote a series a couple of days on that, you know. I didn't keep the papers, what I should have done, but it's on microfilm.
Yes, sir. Well, what kind of treatment did you guys get when you went down there?
When we got down there,
Yeah.
well, here's the beauty of that. When we got to 5 Points, when we left Philly, the car stalled, you know, in 5 Points, Atlanta, downtown. And it was near Sunset. And this big redneck fat cracker cop came up and said, "Tell that nigger,
Right.
get that car in gear and get the hell out of here."
Right.
So our brother, you know, someone was from Richard Allen, you know, they were from out of the hood.
Oh.
They get ready to get out
Okay.
this car road. I
And
said,
deal
hold
with
up,
it.
brothers. I said, you know where we at, you know. So, you know, that cooled down, and then we went to the house we was going to be living in, and Minister Jeremiah and his wife, and all of us. It was a big apartment, big place, upstairs and downstairs, the house. And Martin Luther King's sister owned it, you know, so we paid rent to her. And that's when Malcolm came down to live with us to help start the South. You know. And
Now, what temple was in Atlanta? What temple was that?
that became temple number 15.
Okay.
It wasn't 15 till we got there.
Right.
It became temple number 15.
Right.
And we was on Auburn Avenue in the Oddfellows building. That's where we started there, you know. And then we moved around the city to different storefronts and places to find a place to make temple number 15.
Now, you got to educate me, Brother Richard. When did it go from temple to mosque, or mosque to temple? Or
When
W.D.
Muhammad became the leader, that's when everything became mosque.
Okay, so it went to a more. It took a more of a traditional.
Yeah, we went into
Islamic
right. Yeah. Because we knew he was going to take over. You know, we knew that he was going to take over. And I was having a fit because I was down south when I found out he was going to be the minister here, because I wanted to be up here with him. You understand?
Yes.
But, you know, we was down south. And when we hit Atlanta, I used to teach, because we had minister classes. So sometimes I would teach, and they would send me to Savannah, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
I catch a train to Savannah. Then they would send me to Birmingham, Alabama, or Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with the University of Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Anniston. I used to go there some Sundays. One Sunday I'd be on this side of Georgia, go to Alabama, and on the other side I'd be on the other side going to the east coast of Georgia.
Yes, sir.
You know. So we hit Macon, Georgia, all those towns around out of Atlanta, you know. And I used to, and when we got there, it blew my mind, because when we hit Atlanta, they had African American drugstores, like Rite Aid, all over in the African American community, owned by African American, Yates and Milton drugstores. They had their own movie theaters. They had their own bowling alleys with carpets that thick. They had the colleges, you know, all the Atlanta University, Morehouse, Clark, Spelman, all them colleges. So it was like a Black Wall Street. They had Atlanta millionaires, and all the businesses that the African Americans owned. So they didn't need that integration or nothing, because they had everything.
Exactly.
You know?
So by and large, how were you guys received by all of those?
Well, they knew we weren't from the South.
Right.
And one time I heard some of them talk, and they said, you know, Richard's a stranger. So I looked and asked them, I said, what do y'all mean by stranger? You know, in the Bible it talks about strangers who are angels.
Right.
You know?
Yes, sir.
So what they were saying, that I was like an angel, a stranger, that's the code word for an angel. You know, because we had suit and ties on, and we going in the woods, you know, and no honky funky jumps in the woods to bring, you know, to sell our papers, the fish, and all that, you know.
Yes, sir.
And so, you know, they would say, yeah, he's a stranger, and I asked them about that, and that meant like an angel, you know. So that's how they accepted us, you know.
Now, other than Malcolm and Wallace, who were pretty prominent ministers, were there any other officials or ministers that impressed you?
You had Lucius Bey. Lucius Bey built the first mosque, really, in Washington, D.C., Temple number 4.
Okay.
It's still there. And he was a master, a Shriner, and Mason, and Malcolm. So all of them wanted to be the minister. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made Jeremiah the minister of Atlanta, Georgia. You see. And
now, why do you think that was? So?
Well, he was close to the family, you see. And then what he did with us here in Philadelphia, the growth and everything.
Okay. It was just logical.
Yeah, see, Jeremiah, he was persecuted. When he first came into the nation and everything, the government here, he had a good government job. And they persecuted him to give up the Nation of Islam and all. So they persecuted him, he lost his job and all like that, you know. But Jeremiah was educated enough to know how to do stuff for himself, and and by him training us in the FOI stuff and everything, he showed great leadership. So, and that's one reason why he became the minister in Atlanta, Georgia, you see. And Atlanta grew with Jeremiah taking over down here, because that's when Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Louisiana, it just grew from out of Atlanta and from us and down there. And what happened, in Atlanta, Jeremiah put me in charge of the kitchen, because after the meetings were over, we would have food and sit down and talk with the people that come out, And what I used to do, we had cosmetics that we bought from up here to sell, so we could be free to go around and didn't have no regular job to do. So I would fill my satchel up with cosmetics, and they had a lot of African American beauty supply companies. They had Connolline. Connolline was a hair preparation thing that James Brown was put on the label, because he was James Brown. They knew that would sell.
Right.
Then you had the Bronner Brothers, and the Bronner Brothers was a beauty supply place that supply all the hairdressers and beauticians and barbershops and all, So you had that, and then you had H.A. Reed in Decatur, Georgia. And H.A. Reed, he had his own hair preparation business. And his nephew, Brother Raoul, was from New York. So he came down to help his uncle. Now, Brother Raoul is the brother that introduced Sister Betty to Malcolm.
Okay.
And that's how
What was his name again? I'm sorry?
Raoul.
Brother Raoul.
Yeah,
okay.
Brother Raoul. And so I got a job working with Brother Raoul and his uncle, was we would take beauty supplies, hairdressing, whatever they need, to the barber shops and all over Georgia. 1 week we in the eastern part, and then we go down the southern part, then we go on the western part, Columbus, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Macon, Georgia. And each week we would go back and forth, whatever they need, we take the order, bring their orders, And Brother Raoul introduced Betty to Brother Malcolm. And that's how Malcolm married Sister Betty.
Okay. Okay.
And by living with Malcolm, all of us was single. Malcolm was single, all of us was single. But he used to always tell us while we sitting around eating, he said, brother, marry an educated woman.
Really?
And that stuck with me. Yeah. Marry an educated woman.
Let me ask you a question, Richard. Do you remember when Captain Joseph came to Philly, or were you?
He came with Malcolm.
He came with him.
Captain Joseph. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you remember about him? What type of guy
we just
was he?
banged heads.
Huh?
We banged heads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's a good brother.
Yeah.
But he was now Joseph. He was a movie fanatic too.
Really?
He knew everything in the movie. He knew who was the director. He knew what the producer. All this. He could tell you all that stuff.
Really?
He was pretty good, But he wasn't a better captain to me than Jeremiah Shabazz. Jeremiah Shabazz was the captain.
Prior to?
Yeah, being a minister. But to me, Jeremiah was the top captain. You understand? Joseph was a good captain up there in New York. But he couldn't touch Jeremiah. But him and Malcolm, they always together,
Wow.
And when Malcolm used to come in, Joseph would be with Yusuf Shah.
So, your move down to Atlanta was at the behest of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And the only reason was we were the top paper sellers. Every week they would say, who sold the most paper? You tell them to stand up. And that's how we was able to stand up the brothers that were selling all these papers, Because we put the Pittsburgh Courier on the map, And they wasn't doing all that good, but once we got our hands on it, and then the other African American newspapers, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad things in their papers. The Amsterdam News, the African American newspaper, all of them wanted that, because they seen how we were so dedicated in the circulation.
Okay, so I mean, after you moved to the South, did you still have personal contact with Malcolm, like phone calls?
Oh yeah, we would. Oh yeah, yes sir.
Yeah.
And then here's what happened. Brother Sidney, who was from here, him and Brother Ishmael became the minister in Jacksonville, Florida, and Sidney became the captain there. You see, and they helped spread Islam mostly in Florida just about. But what happened, Sidney wanted to marry a sister that was graduating from Atlanta University. So he called me up. He said, come down to Jacksonville to be the captain for 2 weeks. And then I'm going to marry the sister, and I'm coming back to Jacksonville. And then, you can come back to Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
So this was in 1959.
Yes, sir.
So what happened, he went to Atlanta, and I never heard from Sidney again.
Really?
I didn't know where he was.
So how long were you in Jacksonville?
I stayed in Jacksonville almost up until the 70s.
Wait a minute, are you... I'm sorry.
I would ask for Sidney.
Right.
And I didn't know where he was. So we didn't have these cell phones and all that other stuff. You had to go to, But I got busy in Jacksonville, so I forgot about Sidney.
Right.
I hadn't seen Sidney since 1959. Last year.
2016?
He came up here for a funeral.
What did you say to him?
That's the longest 2 weeks, brother. First time I seen him.
Right.
Since 1959. And me and Sidney grew up together. Our corner was 25th and Oxford.
Oh.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
And I hadn't seen him since then. And the reason why I found him was they had a blog radio station in Atlanta with putting all the pioneers on to tell their life story. And I found out about it. Then I found out they had Sidney on. I said, Sidney's still alive. And
Did he even marry the sister? Did he marry the sister?
No. The reason why, because a Christian family down in the islands paid for her education. So she couldn't marry him because of them paying for her education and all like that. And so, but he became the minister in New Orleans. And whenever I see the people from New Orleans, they tell me that was the best minister they ever had. And every time I would try to get his address, they would leave because I couldn't catch up with them. But by hearing the Blog Talk Radio, they gave me his phone number in New Orleans. And that's when I caught up with him and called him. So we started looking up, and then he found out somebody was dead up here. He had to come up with family members. And that's when I brought him here, and we talked and everything, and he had to go back. But now we in touch.
So you actually became an official in the nation. You became official.
Oh, I was a captain.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was a captain in Jacksonville. I had that post, you see. And what happened, especially in Atlanta, I was the manager of our the kitchen and all that we had at the temple.
Yes, sir.
And when the entertainers would come into town, I would fill my bag up. I had a doctor's bag with deodorants, soap, cosmetics, because I knew the entertainers, they do their show that night, and they might party for a little while, but then they go to they sleeping during the Sunday and all like that. So I would go behind the stage that night, and I would see them, and I sell them cosmetics and stuff.
Yes.
And then I would tell them about the temple. So Sunday they would come out to the temple, and we feed them and all like that. And my big fish at that time, we call them fish, was Etta James. I had Etta James, the Midnighters, and they would come to hear the meetings and all. Wow. So Etta James She wanted to become a Muslim. So I said, you got to write your letter to get you know, X and all.
You know what? I read her book, and I do remember something in there about that.
Yeah. So she got her X, James Etta Hawkins. She was James Etta X Hawkins. She got her X, and then when she would come to Florida, I catch up with her, still helping her to write her letter and all that. But by her traveling, you know. But she came in the Nation of Islam, and I brought her in, you know.
Now that's interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah, I brought her in. She became my ex, and then she wanted to marry me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she wanted to marry me. She told me about her mother out in California and all, but I said, I backed off. You understand? Right. But what happened, also, in Atlanta, I mean in Jacksonville, Muhammad Ali was getting famous because he came in Miami, you see. And when he came up to Jacksonville, I was working in the hotel, and when I saw him, I said, I'm taking you home with me. You see. I said, I'm taking you home with me. Well, Islam, I said, you're gonna take me home with you. I want you to meet my wife.
Yes, sir.
So I took him home, just me, him, and my wife, and she cooked dinner for him and everything. And so I told him, I said, listen, I'm going to show you how to become a conscious objector. I showed him how to become a conscious objector. He learned it from me. Yes, sir. You see, when he became a conscious objector, I was the one that showed him how to do all that. And of course, you remember he went through that thing and all like that.
They took his title.
And that's what happened to me, because in '53, I went downtown at the Quakers, the Friends, on 15th and Cherry. And I learned from them how to be a conscientious objector, you see. And so I became a conscientious objector in 1953. So when I went down south in '57, and you always got to register. When you leave one state, you go into another state, you go to the registration board and let them know that you live in Pennsylvania, you live wherever, and you register in that state, so they knew, because you had the draft on, you see. So I got in Atlanta, and I went to the registration board, and I told them, the clerk, she looked at, she said, oh, you're a conscientious objector? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, you're a citizen of this country, aren't you? So I looked up on the wall and I saw colored fountain, white fountain. I said, this, if I'm a citizen of this country, you see that sign up there say white? If I'm a citizen, can I go up there and get a drink of water? And she shut up. Shut up completely. You know? Right. She left me alone. Yeah. Then I had to go to the registration where they examine you to classify you. So I was supposed to be there at 7 in the morning. I show up at 12 o'clock. And the sergeant said, you ain't getting nothing to eat. I didn't care. Because we already was eating one meal a day. Right. So the sergeant said, you a conscientious objector? I said, yes, sir. I said, I never handled a gun in my life. I said, you put a gun or a rifle in my hand, I might shoot you. I don't know nothing about guns. Right. So he shut up. You see? He shut up, and he left me alone.
He's filming.
But what happened, everybody went home except me, out of 300 people. I had this big armory all to myself, all these beds. And they said, you can't go home, we keep you overnight. I said, I don't care. So I had all these beds, and I just found me a bed and went to sleep. You know? I wasn't worried about that. And so they came early in the morning, tapped me on my feet, and said, okay, you can go home. And that was it. They never bothered me no more, you see. And in Florida, I started teaching the brothers how to be a conscientious objector, like I taught Muhammad Ali. So what happened, I got a job, and I was working in a warehouse, and the FBI came on the job, and so the boss said, Richard, he said, FBI out here want to talk to you. I said, okay. And I went, And he introduced himself, Agent so-and-so. I said, yes, sir. What do you want me for? He said, yeah, you're teaching these brothers how to be constant objecting. I want to ask you about brother so-and-so. I said, did you talk to brother so-and-so? Oh, no. Hold it, man. You stopped me from working to come ask me about a brother you ain't even talked to. He said, oh, yeah, I thought maybe. I said, no, you didn't. I said, you stopped me from working. You asked me about somebody you ain't talked to. I said, I'm going back to my job. I left from here. So the boss came, he said, Richard, you know what I told that agent? I said, what? I wish I had 100 Richards working for me, you know?
Right.
But that's it, because we went on the job, we worked. We was only eating 1 meal a day. So, we worked right on through lunch.
Right.
We were never late. We didn't hang around and, all like that. And the boss stopped that. So I'm just showing you how Allah took the fear out of us on FBI or whoever. But they follow us all over. When Malcolm got put out, me and him had a private meeting in Jacksonville. Okay. Just me and him. I was an official and I wasn't supposed to be talking to him, but we were friends. He said, Richard, I'm starting my new organization and I want you to be in charge down the South. I want you to be over the South. I said, brother, I love you, but I'm an official and I can't do it. He understood. We didn't fall out or nothing. He understood that, But he wanted me to run the new organization.
Now, when that bad blood between Malcolm and the nation, what did you know anything in terms of the
well, it wasn't
what was
Malcolm.
going on?
It was the spies and all that inside the officials around the Muhammad. Muhammad loved Brother Malcolm. He was so hurt when he got assassinated. He loved Brother Malcolm. And he told the people, make sure they search everybody coming in that hall. He told them, Muhammad, they didn't get to him. But he loved Muhammad and he grieved over it. But he wanted me to run this stuff, which I told him I couldn't do it, because of, by me being an official.
And he understood.
Oh, he understood, and we never fall out of nothing. He just knew, he know what you're supposed to do and what you ain't supposed to do.
Yeah,
he knew more than me.
Exactly. He helped those rules get instituted.
Yeah, he knew all the rules.
Let me ask you a question now. When he was killed, were you still in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I was in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and do you remember?
It hurt him. Yeah, because I just seen him. Because Muhammad Ali invited him down to Miami when he was getting ready to have that fight down. So he stopped off to see me,
Okay.
But it really hurted me real bad that he got assassinated.
Did you ever think it would get that bad in terms of the environment between, the camps?
Well, no, what it was, see, a lot of people don't know, that was all done by the government. The government is the one that
fostered that, right?
Yeah. Because the brother that was giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, he was a lieutenant of the New York Police Department.
Right.
So he was right there, So, that did to show you how this system is set up, We got spies coming among us, But we usually go up there every year.
Yeah. And I've been fortunate enough to ride up there with you guys.
Yeah, we go up there every year. Yeah.
It was a great experience.
It was,
like I said, it was like being with family.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. It's just like when the brother got hurt in Harlem, when Malcolm, they found out who Malcolm was. And we was in a restaurant here, and we got the call to get up to New York. Yeah. so fast. I don't know how we broke from record to get up there in Harlem.
Right.
And when Malcolm told us to go home, and the police commissioner said, ain't no nigga got no business having that carnival. And that was it.
Well, Brother Richard, man, I thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
I thank you. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And you've always been gracious and generous with your time. And I love your spirit.
I love
I
you.
really do,
Thank
brother.
you.
I appreciate
Yes,
it,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
I'm honored to have you
And
as a friend.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah, Allah
Yes, sir.
continue to bless you.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right.
Alhamdulillah.
That's it.